Can someone please explain to me why at the beginning, when everything is also just in black and white, some of the violence is completely censored, while later on pretty much everything can be seen and that in full color? I was very close to stopping the movie after the first few minutes because I never watched something that's censored. Well, I'm glad I continued. Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage. I have reviewed almost 400 Indian movies on this channel, and today I want to talk about the brand new Tamil language revenge thriller Saani Kaayidham. It is the second feature film that was written and directed by Arun Matheswaran after last year's Rocky, which unfortunately I still haven't seen. He's a new voice in Tamil cinema, and while I have some issues with Saani Kaayidham, overall it was a pretty fresh and exciting film. And the funny thing is that the stuff I could criticize is also what contributes to making it such a bold and refreshing affair. Saani Kaayidham, which can be translated as muddy paper, tells a fairly simple revenge story. Arun Matheswaran takes or tackles familiar topics like casteism and rape culture and uses them to unleash this ultra-violent, hard-boiled revenge tale on us, which certainly reminded me a little bit of Quentin Tarantino, especially Kill Bill. A young woman who has lost everything, a story that is told through chapters and flashbacks, and like I said, the heavy emphasis on violence. If you are not into blood-soaked movies like this, I can totally understand the notion that this might be too much violence for the sake of violence, especially with a story that's as simple and, unfortunately, also predictable as this, with characters that are very one-note. The villains in this are simply villains, and really not much else. I wouldn't have minded for this to be deeper, but at the same time, I strangely enough enjoyed the simplicity of it all. I think the movie walks a fine line, and there are elements that keep it from being just a mindless gore flick. For once, a lot of the cruelty is reserved for the off, or just shown in some brief snippets. I was especially thankful that the things our protagonist Pony must endure aren't shown in explicit detail. That wouldn't be necessary. And what the movie lacks in screenplay, it makes up with the presentation. The cinematography by Yamini Yagnamurthy and especially the compositions are really great. Some of it, especially the black and white moments that show us crucial elements from the past, reminded me of iconic western movies like The Searchers or again Kill Bill. It's a slow-paced film and like I said it's fairly predictable, and yet there's a certain flow and attraction to it and you get kind of spellbound by it. Which is also certainly thanks to the great and kind of eerie background score that was composed by Sam C.S. It's certainly not your typical movie score, but it's also certainly not your typical Indian movie. It has a strong genre movie touch and a dark twisted nature. And at its heart, it has two really wonderful performances by Keerthy Suresh, who I have previously seen in Mahanati, where she plays a very different strong woman, and Selvaraghavan, who is known as a director, and apart from a small role, I think in Beast, this marks his real acting debut. They are both great, and I also really like this unlikely duo. These two characters that are certainly not your typical folks who are seeking revenge. Keerthy Suresh's Pony won't take it any longer and she just goes at it. She just goes out and kills the people who wronged her. It's certainly in that rape and revenge movie tradition, and one could criticize that it's another strong woman who becomes strong after she was broken down by men and the society she lives in. Yet there's something fresh about the explicit nature of her or their killing spree. And while it takes a while until the movie really finds its groove, it's in the second half where that dark, comedic, and you really have to put comedic in quotation marks, but where it gets so violent and also over the top that it's certainly carrying some fun with it as well. Without a doubt, the best chapter is the fifth one, the Matador Murders. There are so many great moments, such a high body count, so much catharsis. It's really fun. And I also really like these small surreal black and white moments that accompany our protagonist's journey. Again, it's really not that deep of a movie, but it has a nice slow drive, a lot of style, good performances, and a complete commitment to the brutality. Now, there are some smaller things that were a little bit annoying or disappointing. Some of the violence is realized with CGI, which diminishes the effect. There are a lot of pulled punches and kicks that look fairly fake, and the handling of all that violence gets a bit too unrealistic at times, or too sloppy. How characters are screaming or reacting to certain wounds, or how carelessly our heroine is handling a bottle of acid. These things take away from the impact of those moments. There's also this explosion later on where I'm not sure what the movie wants me to think what the effect has been. It looks like one thing, but then it's depicted as something else. It could have been handled better. So, in German I'd say, Saani Kaayidham ist ein schön brutaler Genrefilm, der zwar nicht gerade tiefgehend ist, dafür aber ordentlich Stil und zwei richtig stark aufspielende Hauptdarsteller hat. I give Saani Kaayidham 7 out of 10. It's more like 7.2, but I don't do that.
என்ன சங்குல இருக்கிறேன்ல.
Alright, that's it like always. Comment below and let me know what you think about Saani Kaayidham. You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd and also on Patreon, simply at @JimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like, and make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.